Number 8, we have 14 factorial over 2 factorial times 11 factorial. I'm going to break 14 factorial down to 14 times 13 times what, class? Times, and I would stop right there.
Is it always 4 terms you do?
No, it just depends on what you got on bottom right there. Like on this one, it's just 5 factorial, Jack. I would do this right here. Multiply all the way down to 1. But here, on this one right here, 10 factorial, I have 8. I want them to cancel out. I would do 10 times 9 times 8 and stop at 8 so they can cancel out.
So get to the
Alright. Now, on bottom, I have 2 factorial and 11 factorial. Well, the 11 factorials cancel out. So I'm going to do 14 times 13 and then 2 factorials is 2 times 1, isn't it? Divide by 2 and you get an answer of 1092. Alright, on number 9, you have to think of, you want something to cancel out, so you have to get creative. So, if I start with n factorial, think in your mind, what would I do next? N minus 1, so could you cancel the n minus 1s out? So it'll be n times n minus 1 factorial. Therefore, that cancels out and you're just left with n. I'm going to go back to number 7 and make sure that makes sense. Like on this one, n plus 1 factorial. The definition of a factorial is, I'm going to start with the first one, subtract 1. What's my next one? N, because the positive 1 and the minus 1 will cancel out, and then you would cancel those out, and that would be equal to n plus 1.
Why would you like subtract 1 from the bottom?
Sometimes you do that when you're trying to get something. If you could make that cancel out like that, you would, but in this case, we wouldn't. Whatever, you're just trying to figure out in your mind, how can I get something cancel out there?
number 6 will be 45.
What was number 6 in the video last night? Yeah, 45, yeah. Yeah, I just don't have it memorized. Are there any questions on that? Alright, I love this turnover. You've probably seen this symbol in math before and going, oh, I want to know what that's about. Oh, you about to learn. Oh, have you already? How many's already done this before? Well, this will be a surprise for some. Here we go. I love this. It's very easy. This is called summation notation. The first 3 letters spell what? Sum. So what does sum have to deal with? Addition. It's very simple. Now, yes, Mr. Harris make you do it the long way, so you're going to do it the long way. You're not going to put your calculator right now. All right. So, we have this n squared plus 1, and we have this summation. Alright, these numbers right here tell you what to plug into this sequence right here, okay? It says you're going to start at 6 and go all the way down to 1, okay? Or you can start at 1 and go all the way up 6, whatever way you want to do, okay? So, here we go. So, I always start with 6 and go down. So, this will be 6 squared plus 1 plus, that's why it's summation. What number comes before 6? 5 squared plus 1 plus 4 squared plus 1 plus 3 squared plus 1 plus 2 squared plus 1 plus 1 squared plus 1. So I plug all those numbers in, and then you're going to add all those values together. The reason it's called summation notation is because you see it's adding it all together, the sum of all of that, okay? So what's 6 squared? 36 plus 1 is 37, so I'm going to add 37 plus 26 plus 17 plus 10 plus 5 plus 2. And that's my answer. 97, yep. 97 is your answer. That is called summation notation. When you see that symbol right there, that symbol, okay, what is that Greek letter for? Sigma. Alright, let's look. What question? Let's look at number 12 here. We're going to go this way. Number 12. I want to know the sum between 5 and 3. Is there any way to plug that in? So I can't plug 5 in, can I? I'm just going to put a 3 down for it. Can I plug 4 in for that? No, so I just put a 3 down. Can I plug a 3 in? No, so I just put a 3 down. So then you just add and get 9. If there's nowhere to plug it in, you just put that number down to represent that. Does that make sense? Yes. Go ahead, Tyler.
So whatever the x or the n equals, you're trying to find the sum of every number in between.
Including those two numbers, yes. Yeah.
How do you know it would be specifically 9?
That's 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Because you want to find the sum between 5 and 3, including those numbers. Where there's nowhere to plug. Yep. All right, number 14. We're wanting to find the sum between what two numbers? 3 and 8. Do we want to include them? Yes. So 2 times 8 squared plus 2 times 7 squared plus 2 times 6 squared plus 2 times 5 squared plus 2 times 4 squared plus 2 times 3 squared. You don't have to show me all. You could do some work in the calculator, okay?
Why would you not add 3 to 5 times?
Okay, because you're not going down to 0. It wanted you to start at 3. So you got 3, 4, 5. Does that make sense? Yeah. You can go up or down. It doesn't matter. It's going to give you the same thing because addition is commutative. No. Check your answer, see if you get 398. Okay. Let's look at number 11. What numbers are we concerned with between what numbers? 4 and? Do you include 4 and 7? Yes. So here we go. Negative 2 raised to 7 minus 5 plus negative 2 raised to 6 minus 5 plus negative 2 raised to the 5th minus 5 plus negative 2 raised to the 4th minus 5. And you got to find the answer to each one of those. So that bracket gives me negative 133.
Would it be positive if the whole thing's an absolute?
No, that's brackets. That's not absolute value.
Oh,
Yep. Bless you. you're done with that one, go to the next one. Check your work, see if you got negative 100 on that one. Remember, when you're raising a fraction to a power, you got to do that power in the numerator and the denominator. Do y'all agree with what's on my calculator screen so far? Okay, thank you. I would hit enter, then change it back to fraction. Math, change it to fraction, negative 5/16. When you raise negative 1/2 to the 4th, that's going to be a positive fraction. 1 to the 4th is 1, 2 to the 4th is 16. When you raise a negative to a third power, that would be negative. That would be 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8. When you raise negative 1/2 squared, that's going to be a positive. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4. And the negative 1/2 to the first would be negative 1/2. Are there any questions on summations? So, I need a hand signal if you're good with this first one. Hand signal. Okay. I need a hand signal from everyone. Okay. How about factorials?
Is this literally all that was on the previous?
Third, summation notation. Okay. Now we're going to go on into arithmetic sequences. We're going to start our discussion on arithmetic. Now we're talking about a particular sequence. Arithmetic. We already talked about that. What do you do in arithmetic sequences? You add, okay? So we're on page 3 now of our notes. The formal definition of an arithmetic sequence is an arithmetic sequence is a sequence in which each term after the first differs from the preceding term by a constant amount. The difference between consecutive terms is called the common difference of the sequence. You said, Mr. Fisher, we add it, but it's called the common difference. Difference means subtract. So to find what you're adding, you subtract the two to see what you added. That's why it's called common difference, okay? So, on this first term, it says write the first 6 terms of each arithmetic sequence. So, on number 1, what does A sub 1 mean, class? It means the first term. So, I got to find A sub 2, A sub 3, A sub 4, A sub 5, and A sub 6. So, they want to find the first 6 terms. So, if my first term is 4 and my common difference is negative 7, what am I adding to each term? I'm adding negative 7. So what's 4 plus negative 7? Very good. Negative 3 plus negative 7. And then negative 17, negative 24, and negative 31. And those will be my first 6 terms. You said, Mr. Fish, I just don't understand. We're adding, but it's called a common difference. Okay, if I told you this was an arithmetic sequence, to find out what I'm adding by, take this term and subtract this. Watch this. Negative 3 minus 4 is what? negative 7. So that lets you know you're adding by negative 7. That's why it's called the common difference, and it's represented by the letter D, is because to find it you have to subtract. Does that make sense? Are you sure? Alright, so on number 2, my first term is what? Negative 6. I'm adding what to it each time? 5. What's negative 6 plus 5? Very good. What's negative 1 plus 5? 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. A sub 5 would be what? 14. A sub 6 would be 19. And remember, whichever two you pick, you should get the same common difference. Okay, watch this. If I take this one, 19 minus 4 gives me what? 19 minus 4 gives me what? 5. 9 minus 4 gives me? 4 minus negative 1 is? 5. Do you see that? Now don't skip and go 9 minus negative 1. They have to be next to each other, okay? You can't skip over a term. Alright, let's look at number 3. A sub 1 is 3/4. So I would do this in my calculator. Watch this. 3/4 plus 1/2. 1.25. Change it to a fraction. Plus, so my next term will be 5/4. Plus 1/2. Next one will be 7/4. So 5/4. 7/4. Could you have found a common denominator here and made that 2/4 right there? And just added 2/4, keep adding 2/4 to it? You could do that. So that's how you find given terms when they tell you your first term and your common difference. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about here, and you're going to have 4 formulas on your next test. And this is the first formula, and I gave you a note card. So you can have this note card on your test next Friday. You need to write that term, write that equation out right here. We're going to explain what this means. This formula here, guys, can tell you the term in any sequence. Let's say I asked you, okay, I want the 50th term in this arithmetic sequence. Instead of writing all those terms out, you can use this formula to find just the 50th term. Or if I wanted the 29th term, this is the formula, okay? So, it says find the indicated term of the arithmetic sequence with the first term and the common difference. They got to give you the first term and the common difference in order for you to find it. So here it says find A sub 8. I'm finding what term? The 8th term of this arithmetic sequence when the first term is 4 and your common difference is negative 7. So here, I'm going to write A to the 8th. That's what goes in this place right here. Now, let's look at this formula here. If that is what I'm finding, that's what I'm finding. A sub 8. The n is 8 in this case, isn't it? I would put 8 right here as well. Do you see that? The n's match up. Does that make sense? If this is A sub 8, I would put 8 for n. If I was looking for A sub 4, I would put 4 right here. Because A sub 1 has to be your what term? A sub 1 has to be the what term? First. So you're going to put your first term there, and D stands for your common what? Difference. Does that make sense? So, A sub 8 equals A sub 1 is 4 plus 8 minus 1 times negative 7. I'm going to do what's in parentheses first. 8 minus 1 is 7. 7 times negative 7 is negative 49. That gives me negative 45. That is my 8th term of that sequence. And that's as hard as it gets. Let's do one more and we'll call it a day. It says find a sub 9. We're finding the 9th term. So a sub 9 equals, my first term is 6, plus that 9 will go in for the n, and my d is 5. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. That gives me 46 as my answer. There's only 4 lessons this unit. We just covered 2 of them. It's not too bad, is it? Okay, your homework tonight is page 9, 1 through 17 odd. Now, this stuff is not on there because we're going to finish this lesson tomorrow, okay? But it deals with this learning target, factorials, and summations, okay? Yes. Oh, I have ACT prep tomorrow. I would do, okay, 5 factorial, 5 minus 1 is 4 factorial. Then get to working out so like 5 factorial, so it'd be 5 factorial, 4 factorial. So it's really, if I did 5 times 4 factorial, 4 factorial, it's actually going to be 5.